All right, so what we're looking at here, it's a triangular prism that's leaning over. The one thing that makes this hard is there are a lot of 8s in it. So what I'm going to do is make one small change to the problem right now before we get too far into it. Let's take this 8 out. Let's make that a 10. So what that does is it eliminates one more 8 from the problem so we don't get too hung up. Well, that's the thing, and that's why I'm worried about all those 8s. This front triangle is an equilateral triangle with 8 on each side. So that 8 feet refers to that front triangle. So 8, 8, and 8. And the whole thing goes back 10. In fact, if I were to draw it by standing up the tent on one of its edges, it'd look like that. No, it won't look like that. Let me clean that up. Yeah, still not great. But again, this would be 8, this would be 8, this would be 8, and the height of the tent then would be 10. We usually look at prisms as a stack, not laid down and stretched out, which end up in the exact same place. So when we do surface area, I need to do, according to the formula we talked about yesterday, the surface area for a prism is twice the base plus the wraparound lateral area. Let's see now. From what we've talked about, I need the height of that front triangle. I think that's probably the hardest part in this whole thing is getting that piece. Any ideas how I can approach that? Pythagorean theorem, yeah. I know that for that triangle, if this thing is 8 along the full base, this piece right, let's use this triangle over here, is going to be 4. That's a right triangle. So 4 squared plus, let's call it h squared, is equal to 8 squared. Now here's the thing about the Pythagorean theorem I've noticed the most is that when you guys see it, what happens more often than not is students just assume a squared, b squared, c squared, and they treat the two numbers they get as a and b. Remember, the c in the Pythagorean theorem is the hypotenuse. So for this triangle right here, that's the 8, and then the 4 along the base. And so I'm trying to find the height of that front triangle. And so that's going to be 16 plus h squared is equal to 64. Yada, yada, yada. I get the height of that triangle to be, I have a calculator around here somewhere. Let's see. 64 minus 16. Take them square root. I get 6.9. How are we doing? Okay, we could do this again. All right. And this is stuff we have actually done this before. So that front triangle, half base height, it's going to be half. Let's see, the base is 8 units times 6.9. So that front triangle is going to be, let's see, times 4, 27 point, call it 27.7. And that's square feet. So that tells me the area of the front of this prism, or the area of one of the two bases. Now I need the two bases. Now I still need to get the lateral area, the wraparound. And what I find works really well is if you're still having a hard time visualizing it, remember in this case the prism is leaning over, or if I stand it up, it's this wraparound piece here. So let's lay it out flat. If I were to cut it out and lay it flat, I'd have 3 pieces. How tall is that rectangle? Yeah, if I take, remember I'm taking this, think of it this way, I'm taking this and I'm cutting along the top of the tent and I'm going to peel those 2 pieces off. So I'm really taking here, okay, so here's my tent. Fold that into thirds, there. So there's my tent, right? I just found the area of that front triangle. That's the 27.7 square feet. I know the area of the back triangle. That's 27.7 square feet. So now I got to lay it flat. And now I've got a rectangle to work with. And so that rectangle is going to be 10 tall. And then each of those pieces in the rectangle is each 8. So let's write that down. So it's 10 tall. And so there's 8 here, 8 here, and 8 here for a total of 24. So that means that has an area of 10 by 24 or 240. Put that down for now. Now, the last thing I gotta do is go ahead and figure out the overall surface area. So the surface area is going to be twice the area of the base, which is 27.7, plus the lateral area, which we said was 240. Let's take that times 2 plus 240. Final answer, 295. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say 0.4 square feet. What questions do you guys have? What should I go back to and review? Where did we slip?